Today we are going to do my sister a big old favor, and we are going to make a lemon meringue roll, or whatever the hell we're calling it. It's lemon, it's meringue, it's absolute heaven, but there is no crust to it, which makes it so much better. So let me introduce to you the ingredient list that we have. There's very little. So first of all, we're using Bob Evans egg whites. So Bob Evans egg whites, literally all it is just egg whites. If you were to look at the instructions, it just says egg whites. That's what we're aiming for. We don't want something that has a bunch of shit in it. So we just want egg whites. Alternatively, you can do 8 eggs. Just take the yolks out. Just separate them. Use 8 eggs. If you're feeling froggy and you really want to fancy it up. I'm lazy, so I'm using a box of egg whites. You also need to use cornstarch or cream of tartar. Now, Crystal, you'll be pleased to know that cream of tartar is a byproduct of the winemaking process, so it is right up your alley. However, I don't have cream of tartar, so I'm going to use a little bit of cornstarch. Salt, good old iodized salt. Don't be afraid of the iodized salt. Vanilla extract. So this was actually made for me by a family member. So mine looks a little fancy, but you can just use any old extract. Like, just make sure it doesn't have a bunch of shit in it and you'll be fine. I use for sweetener, I use monk fruit drops. So these are the Lakanto monk fruit drops. Literally all that's in it is purified water, monk fruit extract, natural flavor, citric acid, good stuff. You need to use some kind of liquid sweetener when you first make this. If you use something else, like sugar, regular sugar, you're gonna fuck up your macros. So just make sure you're using either pure stevia, monk fruit, whatever. Just don't use anything with erythritol unless you want to have a stroke or a heart attack. So the next thing I'm using is cream cheese. Now, I meant to get the fat-free cream cheese or the low-fat cream cheese, and I don't have that. So mine is going to have a little bit more macro-wise than I want it to have. And I did adjust the recipe for that. So if you have full-fat cream cheese as well, it's totally fine. But just next time, don't be a jackass like me and make sure you get the low-fat kind because it gives you less calories. Then you're going to want lemon. So I have a whole lemon here, so we do need the rind and we need the juice. We don't need the whole thing. We need about like 1 slice, basically like a tablespoon of lemon rind, or if you're wanting to be fancy, the zest. Sorry, I'm not very good with my terminology here. If you want to be lazy and you don't want to juice the lemon, you can actually use actual lemon juice in a bottle. I would like to say this is actual lemon juice, but it has a bunch of shit in it, not just lemon juice. So try not to use this if you can help it. If you don't give a crap, then you're fine. You can use it, not a big deal. Then the last thing we have that goes with this recipe is yogurt. So I happen to use vanilla flavored yogurt. I like it. I think it adds flavor. If you can find lemon flavored Oikos Pro Complete Protein, I encourage you to. Like, it just would make this even more lemony than it currently is. However, I can't find that, even though I have the best Kroger in the world about 3 miles down the road from me. So I buy the vanilla, like I said. I always just buy the Oikos brand. I am not going to use any other brand because the sugar that they put in it, or the sweetener that they put in it, is sugar alcohol, and this is just sweetened with stevia extract. So that is why I use it. I mean, it does have a bunch of other crap in it. It's yogurt, but this is about as healthy a yogurt as you can possibly get. It is Greek yogurt. So for the folks out there that don't like Greek yogurts, you're just going to have to get the fuck over it for a hot minute because we need the thick yogurt for this recipe. So you're not eating the yogurt straight out of the container. You don't have to pretend it's something you don't like to consume. So just make sure you get Greek yogurt. You don't got to get this big a container. We only need about 3/4 of the cup, but Oiko's Greek yogurt. So that, my friends and dear sister, that is the only ingredients we have in this recipe. So what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ingredients in this entire recipe. Now, when you get to making it, after you've made it a couple of times, it's only going to take you about 10 minutes to whip this up. I made it probably every day for the first 2 weeks that I found this recipe, and Joe absolutely loved it, and then I started tweaking it and making different kinds. So you can do different kinds of filling. So I have a strawberry filling that I use as well that he really loves. It's his favorite. And eventually I will show you how to make that one too. So just put it in the comments if you want to see the strawberry filling as well. So I don't mind doing that. So onward, we have our utensils. It's very simple. There's not a lot of utensils here. You just need a big bowl. You need a little bowl. Now don't judge me. I'm like my granny and I reuse my containers. So I'm using an old cottage cheese container. You need your hand mixer, which I actually forgot to get out, but I do have my little tongs, my little whippy things here. You can use a stand mixer if you're feeling froggy. I'm too lazy to get my stand mixer out of the pantry over there. So I'm just going to get my hand mixer. I also really kind of I like being able to have more control over the egg whites as I'm whipping them with the hand mixer than I do with the stand mixer. It's just my preference. Whatever makes you happy, whatever gets your kicks off, you can use either. You're going to need a 1/2 teaspoon, and boom, magic, I had to go grab it. Sorry about that. So we need our hand mixer, or again, stand mixer if you're feeling fancy. You need a measuring cup. I just have a 1 cup measuring cup. I'm not anything special. A spatula, couple of tablespoons. You may not use them both, so I just like to have them out just in case I need them. You need a pretty good sized cookie sheet. I just have this one. And then because I'm lazy as shit, I'm going to put aluminum foil on my cookie sheet, and then I'm going to put parchment paper on top of the aluminum foil, just because I like to. Oh, and one more thing I almost forgot. There is one more thing. If you're not, like if you're using silicone, like a silicone like cookie sheet or something, you probably don't need the foil and the parchment paper. But I don't have that. So the other thing that I do use that I forgot to grab out, and I'll grab it in just a second, is I use a little spritz of avocado oil just to make sure that my egg whites don't get stuck to the parchment paper, because otherwise you're just going to have a mess and the egg whites are not going to want to part with that parchment paper, and it's just like they're going to be married and you're going to have to throw them in the trash. So, and start all over. So that is what we use. So these are all the utensils we use. This is all the ingredients we use, and we are ready to go. Now, before you get started, you want to make sure that you turn your oven on. Bake it at 400. 400. Let me make sure there's nothing in that oven. I knew there was. That was from the other dessert I made earlier for myself. So there we go. I'm going to grab out my avocado oil spray. And I'm going to put on an apron because I've got to make sure my cock shirt doesn't get dirty. And we're going to get started. So, first things first. Let me just move all this crap out of the way. Crap. We're going to grab our big old bowl and our measuring cup. All right, so again, make sure your egg whites are room temperature. They have to be room temperature, otherwise they're not going to get all frothy and big and beautiful like we want. We want some impressively stiff egg whites, and you're not going to get that with cold egg whites. So make sure you get room temperature egg whites. Now you just need a cup. You might got to get down and look at the line. So there we go. You got that. Grab your big bowl, pour your egg whites in. It is just that easy. It's just that easy. What I want to say. Now usually I will add my sweetener while I'm doing the egg whites. It just gets it out of the way. Okay, now don't judge me, but I do 20 drops. 20 drops. It's, I mean, 3 to 4 drops is a serving size, but there's 0 calories and whatever in it. So we're gonna count down. All right, that's probably give or take a little bit less or more.
Hold on a second.
All right, so we got our sweetener in here, we got our egg whites in here. I'm also going to put a dash of vanilla in this mixture. It's about a teaspoon, so you can get a measuring spoon out if you really want to, or you can just, you know, put it in so it matches your soul. Like, just let your ancestors tell you when to stop. All right, so that's basically all we're putting in here at the moment. Now, I am going to get my cornstarch out because I need to have it on standby. And I'm going to grab my half teaspoon over here. And I'm going to grab my hand mixer. And let's get it all set up. All right, you okay so far, Crystal? It's making sense, right? It's not difficult. Like, this is probably one of the easiest recipes you'll ever make. Kind of like the chicken pizza that you're obsessed with that you got Bill to eat. Oh, by the way, y'all, anybody who's not my sister, I will be doing a video for the chicken pizza, just not this week. Okie dokie. So now it's time to beat our eggs. All right, notice how it's getting a little frothy here. This is the time we want to add our cornstarch, right? So there is no like definitive time period where I'm doing this. I just see it, it's frothy. I'm gonna add half a teaspoon of cornstarch. Now, the cornstarch, why do we add it? It gives the egg white structure. So it's what's gonna hold this together and create the meringue. So let's get this out of the way. And let's get back to beating. Okay, not to bore you, but this is going to take about 4 minutes or so, 3 or 4 minutes. It's going to more than double in size. So stay tuned. I'll be right back. Okay, so we have whipped our egg whites for the last several minutes. They basically are like this. So you pick up your bowl and you hold it like this and your egg whites ain't moving, you're good to go. Well, I mean, they moved a little, but that's fine. But you can see like super, super stiff peaks on our egg whites. That is exactly what we're looking for. Now, if you want to get fancy and you want it to be super lemony, you can add a tablespoon of lemon zest here and it will make your meringue extra lemony. Now, I didn't do that when I first started making it. I started doing that a little bit later. I'm not going to do that today though. We're just going to leave it the basic recipe so that y'all just get a good idea of what it looks like. So, or you know how to do the basic recipe. And then y'all can just start changing it as you want. Now, we got to get our pan ready. We should have probably done that to start with, but you know, whatever. So I've got my foil. Let me get this out of the way. Just kidding. I got my foil. I'm not doing that. Alright, hold on. My foil's misbehaving. Just give me a second. There we go. Okay. Alright, so we're just gonna put it in this pan. Again, this is just for ease. I'm lazy, so that's the whole entire reason why this bowl is here. So the big player here is our parchment paper. No, Crystal, you cannot use wax paper. It has to be parchment paper. We don't want to burn the place down. We don't want to eat a candle. You want to use parchment paper, not wax paper. Okay? So we're just going to put it on here like this. And I'm going to get my avocado spray. I'm just going to give it a couple of squirts. There we go. All right, so I'm going to bring that over here, and I'm going to use my spatula, and I'm going to just pour this mixture onto this cookie sheet. Now, you can eat this like it is. Totally can eat it like it is. It's super delicious. But you don't got it. And also, I mean, technically, I suppose you could reuse this bowl, but I'm not going to do that. So, I like making extra dishes for my husband. So all we're going to do here is we're going to spread this out. Now just be gentle. This is light and airy and beautiful, and you don't want to fuck it up, right? So don't go beating the hell out of it. Just spread it out nice and gentle like. And your aim is to get it even. You don't want it thin in any one area. We're not trying to do a comb over here. We're just trying to make sure we've got even as we can be, egg whites, and I got a little bit of a hole right there, so let me try to fill that in. Yep. Our oven is to temperature. Alright, that looks pretty even to me. I'm going to call it even. It doesn't have to be exact. That is the beauty of this recipe. If you screw up a little bit, it's not the end of the world. And just going to spread out a little bit more down here to make it a pretty, like, rectangle, right? I still need this spatula, so I'm just going to rinse it off. And I'm going to sit it on the edge. Okie dokes. So, we are going to put this in our 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes. So, here we go. This, my friends, is where the magic happens. So, I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes, and there we go. Let's pick that up before Joe yells at me. Oh, alrighty. So now we're going to make our filling. Now, our filling consists of cream cheese, because of course it does. Oh shoot, I forgot a butter knife. Sorry, y'all. My apologies. Butter knife. I've already used, excuse me, I've already used this cream cheese. So what I typically do when I open my container of cream cheese is I'll cut it open and then I'll portion out the 2 ounces because I make this dessert all the time, all the time. And I need to know where my 2 ounces are. So I'm actually going to take the back side of my knife to the edge of my countertop and I'm just going to separate it. And then pick it up, throw it in my bowl. Again, it has to be room temperature. Don't say, fuck it, I forgot to take it out of the fridge. You need to wait. It has to be room temperature. Okay. So let's close this up. Maybe. And put it back. Maybe. It's messy. Okay. I might be a little OCD. Let me get a napkin. Okay, so our cream cheese is in here. Now we need to get our yogurt. Crap, I forgot to get another measuring cup out. So just kidding, I forgot another measuring cup. Maybe Joe can put in the beginning where I told you what all the instructions were. Maybe he can add that I'm missing a butter knife and a a 1/3 cup measuring cup, because this says, oh, shucks, it's 1/4. Sorry, just kidding. That our serving size is 3/4 of a cup, so you want to get a 1/4. Alternatively, you could just use 1 cup of yogurt. I don't typically use this because, again, I've made this so many times. I know when I dip my tablespoon in here, like, I am aware of how much I'm using. So, crap, I need another butter knife because I put mine in the sink like an idiot, and I need that to portion off, like, scrape off my yogurt. Don't judge me. I'm doing this to help you. I hear you judging me, Crystal. It's gonna taste good. Okay, so we're gonna get one quarter. Get out of there. Looks kind of questionable. 2 quarters. And 3/4. Now, you can make this with more or less yogurt. Just remember that you are changing the macros when you change the amount that goes into the dessert. So as long as you're aware of that, you're totally fine. I would not overdo it on the yogurt because I can tell you I have before, and you end up getting more filling than your yogurt or your roll can handle. So, slow your roll. Okie dokes. Alright, so that's all we need of that. We also need a little bit of sweetener. So, you can use however much or however little you want here. I am, again, don't fucking judge me, using 20 drops. That was more or less 20 drops. Now, this is a little pricey. I think this bottle was about $11 at Kroger. But even though I have effectively used about 40 drops for this dessert, it is nothing in the grand scheme of things in this bottle. So this bottle will last me a couple of weeks, even if I'm making dessert every single day. So don't be shy, use it, just be careful. Make sure you are legitimately, or at least closely, trying to count how many drops you are using. Okay, so then also just a dash of vanilla. It's about a teaspoon. So put a teaspoon in there, give or take. And then tiny bit of salt. Now you can leave the salt out if you want to, because it will reduce the sodium in the recipe quite a lot. So if you're very sensitive to sodium content like my sister is, then you can just leave it out. It adds a little bit of extra flavor, but it's fine, whichever you want to do. All right, so I started zesting this lemon yesterday because we were going to make this video yesterday, but our stuff didn't work. So we had like dead batteries all over the place. So I'm going to move that out of my way a little bit, and I'm just going to show you like what I do with the lemon is I zest it whole, and then I'm just going to use 1 tablespoon of the lemon zest. So that's about 1 wedge or whatever. So crap, it helps if you got it the right way. So zest your lemon, do the whole thing. Do the whole thing if you want to. It doesn't take much. This lemon doesn't like me. No. Okay. Anyways, I've got enough in here. You don't want to stand here and watch me zest an entire lemon. So I'm going to use a tablespoon of the lemon zest that I have in here. So get rid of that. And then, dang it, a tablespoon, y'all. I forgot tablespoon. Jesus Christ. Okay. So, well, that looks just about like all I have in here. Okay, so fortunately for me, I have about a tablespoon of lemon zest already zested, so good for me. It goes in the bowl. All right, so now is the moment of truth. Do you want to use the lemon juice from the lemon, or do you want to use the lemon juice from the bottle? Again, it is dealer's choice. I'm probably going to be lazy here and use the juice from the bottle. You don't have to. It would be wise if you just use the juice from the bottle or from the lemon. That's what I normally do, but I'm in a time crunch tonight, so I'm going to use a tablespoon of lemon juice.
You're squirting.
Yes, I was. Tends to happen. Okie dokes. So the lid goes back on. And that's it. So this is what the inside of our bowl looks like. We just got to mix it together. And before we even mix this together, it's been 10 minutes already. So it's time to pull our lemon meringue out of the oven. So let me just grab hot bags. And we're gonna come over here. And this beauty, we're going to turn that off. This beauty is what our lemon meringue roll looks like coming out of the oven. Oh my God, and it smells so good. It smells like a cookie. So this is hot, obviously. We're going to have to put it on the stove for a hot minute so that it can cool off. It's going to deflate while it's cooling off. Do not worry, it is totally fine. That gives us the opportunity to mix our filling. Now, I didn't rinse this off. This still has a little bit of the meringue on it from when we did the roll piece. It's fine. I found a couple of recipes that actually call for you to put some of the meringue in the lemon filling. I don't particularly care for that. It makes it a little bit too runny for me. So I am going to just mix it like this. You can rinse it off if you really want to, but the egg whites are pasteurized, so it's not going to hurt nothing. And that's it. So, I encourage you to try it. This stuff is amazing. Oh my God. It is so good. It almost tastes like icing. Now, remember, it's as sweet or as tart as you want it to be. I'm not a big fan of super sweet crap. Joe, on the other hand, loves super sweet stuff. So this is a nice balance between the two of us. I like it. He even really likes it. So it's good for me the way that it is. If you want for it to be a little sweeter, you can add additional sweetener if that's what you want. If you're not using monk fruit or stevia, keep in mind you're fucking your macros up when you change the amount in the recipe. So if you want to keep to the recipe macros, then do it the way I showed you. And it's really hard to screw this recipe up, so don't worry if something wasn't exact, but it was close. So doesn't have to be super close, but again, if it's not exact, it's going to change the macros a little bit. And this is a very high protein, low calorie dessert. And I say low calorie just based on the size, right? So when we're talking about protein in food, there's a lot of stuff out there that says it's high protein, but it's not. So if you have something, for example, that is 300 calories per serving, but it's only got 20 grams of protein in it, that is not a high calorie, or it's not a high protein food. So you want your protein to be more than your calories when you add a 0 to the end. So for example, this recipe, and I forgot, hold on one second. This recipe is 488 calories for a single serving if you ate the whole roll, right? That's 54 grams of protein. So if you add a 0 to the 54, that's 540. So that means that's more, 540 is more than 488. So this is a high protein food. You can still half the dessert, you can half it. We were eating I was making a whole one for both me and Joe because I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And so I was eating a whole one like every day. And he was, and then we got to where we were like, holy fuck balls, we cannot eat this whole thing. It is just too much. We are full. It's very filling because it's very high in protein. So we ended up halving it, and if you half it, my math really sucks. Sorry, I had to write it down. It's 244 calories per serving for half of it, and it's 27 grams of protein. So if you add a 0 to the end of the 27, it's 270, which is still more than the 244. So still a very good ratio for protein to calories. So it also has really good potassium. So the potassium is 682 milligrams for the entire thing. So half that, whatever it is. Now, I use MyFitnessPal whenever I go to put recipes in, and that's what I use. I rely on to calculate for me what the macros are. So if you use MyFitnessPal, then you'll get the same macros as me. If you've never used MyFitnessPal or you don't know what it is, comment down below and let me know if you'd like for me to do a video of MyFitnessPal, and I'll show you all about it and like how to add recipes and how to use it. I log my food every single day. It's stupid easy. It is very good in helping you understand how much you're actually eating. So the only problem with MyFitnessPal is that it counts the carbohydrates kind of wonky. So this, for example, has 7 grams of carbohydrates in it, right? And it says the total sugars is 4, but it's made with stevia. So typically, stevia is not counted when you're talking about sugar or sugar grams because it doesn't spike your blood sugar. So you can take, assuming that's where the 4 grams is that they're trying to count, or I'm sorry, where the grams are that they're trying to count in MyFitnessPal, because MyFitnessPal says that this has, where'd it go? Says it has 17 grams of carbohydrates, 7 from sugar, and 1 from dietary fiber, which is not really the case because this has 7 carbohydrates in it that are likely coming from that stevia, not anything else. So you can most likely just take 7 carbohydrates off, and that would make this dessert about 8 net grams of carbs. So I eat very low carb anyway. I only eat once a day. So for me, even taking 17 grams of carbohydrates is not that big a deal for me. So I can live with it or whatever, but just so you're aware. Alrighty. So that is all when it comes to making this dessert. That's about the ingredients. You can add up all of your ingredient macros yourself. You can do it by hand, divided by the number of servings that you want to do. If 2 servings is even too much for you, you can split it into thirds or fourths even. Just understand you just need to split your macros. All right. So now we're going to check on our meringue and see if it's ready. It is. It's pretty cooled off. So I'm going to bring it over here. All right, so this meringue, you can tell it kind of gets a little stuck to the paper. Just gently peel it away, right? It's gonna come off. Ah, just kidding. You didn't see that. It has a little bit of a yellow texture to it. On top, on the back, it's a little bit whiter. Now, we're going to put our filling on top of our meringue. Don't be shy. All right, so I'm just going to spread it out. Get it all the way to the edge. We are going to cover this entire thing. And get the rest of this out. This bowl. And again, all the way to the edge. I'm not the creator of this recipe, just heads up. I've seen several types of this recipe online. So I just tweaked it a little bit on my side. This is really not the tweaked recipe. There's a chick on Facebook named Maddie who has this recipe. So I found it on one of her pages. She's hilarious. But you can tweak it. Like I said, normally I add lemon to the meringue itself to make it extra lemony, but I didn't do that today. So that's about it. So it's got the meringue all the way to the edges. You have some left on your spatula that goes back in the bowl so you can lick it later. And nobody can see your shame. So now we just need to roll it. So this is where things get dicey. So just fold it and then kind of pick it up a little bit if you can. And just roll, 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 roll. All right. That is it, my friends. That is the entire recipe. So it looks a little wonky on the top. It's fine. It tastes amazing. So you can, again, you can eat this whole entire thing. What did I say? Like 488 calories for the whole entire dessert. And like 54 grams of protein, I think. Yeah. So it's very filling. Have at it. Enjoy it. Tell me what you think. But give it a go. And I'll see you later. I think next week I'm going to make a chicken pizza for you because, again, I've been on a chicken pizza roll for like 2 weeks. That's all I've eaten, chicken pizza and some kind of dessert. So if you like this, put the comments down below. Let me know. If there's something else that you want me to make, that you want me to see if I can find a recipe for, or change it so it's lower calorie and higher in grams of protein, let me know. So like, subscribe, come back, and I'll see you later. Crystal, call me with questions. I know you're gonna. Bye.